Hello, welcome back to the rental hellscape. I also can't say the name of this segment anymore because otherwise the algorithm gets mad at me for swearing too quickly. Anyways, today we're in Brisbane and I'm just gonna show you the videos.
Where the fuck is this coming from?
I've been so angry for so long that I kind of just feel not defeated, but
Mm.
like it truly kind of confirms that you are like a lower class.
Sometimes you can tell that a rental is in Queensland just by looking at it, and this rental is no exception. But did you know that there are minimum rental standards in Queensland? These include that the rental must be weatherproof and structurally sound, so it's got to be in good repair with fixtures and fittings not likely to cause injury through normal use. It's got to be free from vermin, damp, and mold. It's also got to have adequate plumbing and drainage, so preferably, water won't come through the floor. And yeah, there's some other stuff. Anyways, as you can see, this place, not ideal. This rental is managed by a property management company called and they are about as good as you'd expect. I'll probably be doing like a few episodes on this one depending on how this progresses, but yeah, stay tuned, I guess. I spoke to one of the renters at this rental and I'll put the interview up shortly. But before I do that, I do want to say that this rental is in the electorate of Cooper in Queensland. The local member for Cooper is Jonty Bush. Jonty Bush is a Labor member, and I don't know if you remember, but Labor used to be in power in Queensland. Now they're not, but Labor had quite a few years to do something about this kind of thing. And if anyone's surprised about why they didn't do anything, I'll show you. So in Jonty Bush's register of interest, she declares that she's got an investment property and also a very large house. So I had a look at both of them. Her investment property in Springwood has doubled in value since she purchased it. And yeah, like she's a landlord is what I'm trying to get at. So ultimately, when you elect people like this, who are landlords and who don't have the same class interests as you, they're going to do terrible things to you. Labor is a party of landlords, just like the LNP, and they don't have an interest in making sure that your interests are protected. They own property, so they're personally incentivized for the housing crisis to get worse because it increases the value of their property and their investments, and then they'll sell it and be rich. They have no incentive to make this housing crisis better or go away because they're profiting from it. And as you can see for this particular instance, the local member for this renter is a landlord, so I guess imagine going and chatting to your local member about the scourge of landlords on society. It's going to go really well. Anyways, I'm going to put the interview here. Don't vote for landlords at elections. I don't think that voting is the thing that's going to get us out of this housing crisis. I think we need some pretty major collective action amongst, some of the other crises that we're having at the moment. I think voting is important still, and we do need to engage with it at least a little bit. Although I'm not going to blame you if you don't believe in voting, because I also respect that. Community collective action is what solves this stuff, but voting's an easy thing that we can do every now and then. Just make sure you don't vote for a landlord, and don't vote for people whose only class interests are that of the ruling class. Anyways, enjoy. Love you all. Hello, editing Jordan here. As I was editing this, the tenants just got a $100 rent increase. So, how are you?
I'm good. I'm chilling. Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all that. Yeah, nah,
All that.
I'm good. It's been busy, but yeah, at least my house isn't falling apart.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
good.
you win some, you lose some. Hey, yeah, who are you? What's going on?
I'm Charlie. My house is falling apart.
Excellent.
I've in March, it'll be 3 years here. And in the time since I've been here, we've had like major kind of issues. We've had plumbing issues, we've had like ceilings collapsing, we've had electrical issues, we've had damage to the neighbor's property because of stuff happening here.
Mm.
And we've had a building inspector who the landlord hired when they bought this place, he came and inspected it while I was there with one of the landlords, and basically was like, I told you that you needed to do all of this stuff before people moved in, and you
Yeah.
didn't. And this is not a livable house.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's what you want. Have you had the same kind of like property manager throughout?
No, no, we've had like four at this point and have never really been able to get in touch with any of them, nor have
That's
we
a,
been told when we've had new property managers.
yeah, beautiful. What are your favorite disasters that have happened in the house?
Oh, I'm gonna say my absolute favorite was when the sewage was leaking
Mm,
for like 7 days onto the property, and it
mm,
was the fifth time that it had happened. Um, when I was sending you like some of the info, I didn't realize I could see their back end of reports, and I realized that a tradie had inspected it like 2 years ago,
mm.
and it's a very detailed description of what needed to be done. They didn't do it. And yeah, we had
Naturally.
raw sewage on the property. I got really sick
Mm,
just from inhaling shit air, apparently. Uh, the downstairs was like, it was like a gas chamber. Like
mm,
literally all of us had like watering eyes. It was an unbearable, noxious smell.
mm.
And whenever it rains, it kind of comes back because that doesn't really go away once it's soaked into the soil.
That is how people die. So,
Yeah, I was like, cool, we're gonna have an outbreak of the bubonic plague in
yeah, we're gonna
Astro.
have a new plague. How good in in Queensland. Let's go. And how many housemates do you have?
There's five of us living here.
Yeah. And how do they feel about everything?
Um, so there are two that have been here. Like, there's one housemate that's been here with me since we moved in.
Hmm.
She is sick to the back teeth, just like I am. We
Mm,
kind of tag team with the real estate, whoever's got the energy to deal with shit and chase up.
mm.
And then, yeah, I have another housemate who's been here for over 2 years. He kind of doesn't spend a lot of time at home,
Yeah, I
probably
wonder
because it's
why.
not very nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then the two others, one is like kind of in the front room. He's only lived here for a couple months. He barely notices anything. And then another housemate is in the downstairs who's got the collapsed ceiling and also the shit stink because that is the room directly next to the sewage pipe. So it
Mm.
smells bad in there.
How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel angry or does it make you feel like kind of I don't know, rejected or like what's the vibe in the house?
I've, I've been so angry for so long that I kind of just feel not defeated, but
Mm,
like it truly kind of confirms that you are like a lower class in a
mm,
way. It's like when you've spent so long on your knees begging
mm,
to just have the bare minimum and it still gets refused, you start to feel like, okay, well, I guess this is what I deserve. I guess
mm,
I deserve to live in a house with a collapsing ceiling and leaking sewage, even though I'm paying so much money to
mm.
live here.
It's fucking infuriating, isn't it? Like it makes me just want to like throw something.
Genuinely, yeah, I've had dark thoughts,
Yeah.
honestly. I've had very dark thoughts. One of my housemates, when the sewage issue was going on, because like I said, they left it for so many days, she like drove down to the real estate
Mm.
agency and got in their face. It was like,
How good.
what are you doing?
Go off.
And that still didn't result in anything because the fucking property managers are never even there.
Exactly. And it, like, yeah, it makes you think, like, really, what does it have to take? Because we see, we've seen stories of tenants dying because of fire alarms not working and, roofs collapsing on tenants and everything, and still nothing. Like, no one
No.
really wants to do anything about it. But that brings me to the next question, which is if you could do anything about it, whether it's, change a law, guillotine a landlord or whatever, what would you do? What would you do if you could change anything?
I feel like there's so much,
Mm,
so much that I would change. I mean, I definitely think, you know, uh, landlords like this just like shouldn't exist. I mean, landlords shouldn't exist in general, but
mm,
like to own so many properties and be so detached from the places that you own where
Mm,
you are housing people, that's a
mm,
huge responsibility. And they're completely unable to even pay any attention to it when you have so many properties
mm,
and you have never even been to the house before. There's no connection or any sense of empathy
mm,
or sympathy even. So yeah, I think if anything, there should be a very strict cap on
mm,
how many rental properties landlords can own. I think there should be, you know, heavy penalties for not maintaining the standard. I think it should be something that honestly you shouldn't even have to get landlord approval for.
mm,
Like there should be more right for the people paying that are living in the house than
mm.
the person that has never even set foot there.
Yeah, exactly. And probably never will. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. They don't care about this shit. Do you think what you've experienced and your housemates have experienced, do you think that's uncommon in this country?
No, absolutely not. It's everywhere. Like
Mm,
my housemate was telling me just the other day that someone she knows, her house burnt down
mm,
because of an electrical issue with the house that the landlord was supposed to fix.
mm,
House burnt, most of their belongings are gone, and the landlord is still trying to keep their bond.
mm, mm.
Crazy.
How good? How good is
Yeah.
this? Like,
Oh,
yeah, it makes you really happy, doesn't it?
yeah. Like they've totally lost thousands of dollars in possessions, but yeah, you want to hang on to that, what, maybe 3 grand? You need that 3 grand for sure.
Yeah, fuck's sake. I think there's a lot of people who are getting pretty angry about it, like yourself included. And I don't know, do you think landlords are starting to get a bit embarrassed to be landlords or not yet?
Think they are, and I think it's coming out in, you know, uh, aggression and deflection. Like you're
Mm,
seeing a lot more landlords become more vocal about how they're being taken advantage of and how
mm,
they don't have protections. And it's like you guys were awfully quiet before about all of this, but
mm.
now that it's really coming to light how awful conditions are for people, you're suddenly saying that you're the victim here.
I wanted to, yeah, give you a chance to talk about yourself for a bit. Like, what do you do? Do a bit of self promo or something, just whatever.
Um, yeah, I'm a tattoo artist. My handle is Please Hold Tattoo. I work at Simple Studio in Paddington. I've been tattooing for like 3.5 years now.
Mm,
And yeah, obviously I'm a sole trader, like technically a business owner, which has been really fun in this economy. Um, Also makes it very hard to apply to properties
mm,
because you don't have pay slips for that. Like,
mm.
unless I have to show you my entire tax
Yeah,
return.
yeah, that's not a
Um,
job that they respect.
yeah, no, not at
Like
all. A lot of
self-employment is
people,
not something they care about. They don't want that.
not at all. Even though they're not employed, they just own properties. But
Mm,
anyway,
mm.
um, yeah, so I've been tattooing for 3.5 years. Prior to that, I was working in hospitality for 7 years. Um, so yeah,
What do you think is the best way to kind of combat landlords like this and real estate agents like this? I guess together collectively, and also, what do you think would work best for you?
yeah. Once again, there's a lot of change that needs to be brought in. I think, like, first of all, there needs to be a huge push for public housing, just so that the most like in need and disadvantaged people don't have to deal with the potential of shitty landlords and shitty
Mm,
real estates. I think we need like serious rent control.
mm,
Prices need to come down because the fact that I'm paying so much for this house, which on paper, yes, it's a big, beautiful old home. It's, like 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom, but it's still not structurally sound.
mm,
It's still not legally tenable.
mm.
Um, and now that I'm getting to a point where we're starting to look at moving because my lease is coming up, it's honestly not looking better
Mm,
anywhere else. Yeah, there needs to be a cap on like how much rent you can charge. There needs to be a cap on how many properties people can own. There needs to be, you know, more legal protections for renters. You know, I've submitted 2 notices of breach, and that's just sitting there. Like, technically, yes, they're in breach now, and I could take them to court, but that's going to be a whole lot of work for me and a whole lot of time. I'll probably be moved out by the time I even get to the tribunal. And the first thing they're going to ask is, hey, can you fix this? And then they'll just do it then. They'll just wait until I've gone through all this effort and I won't see any financial compensation. So, yeah, there needs to be a way to, like, streamline repairs and basically just make sure that the minimum housing standard is more strictly enforced.